Hello everybody and welcome to the HD pregame show. Now today we're going to be looking at Gerper and Isskincom. Now these two players are not very well known in the North American or European servers, but they are Korean. And so we're going to be looking at a high-level Korean game today. I can't wait. I've never casted a high-level Starcraft 2 Korean game before, and everyone knows how good Koreans are in Starcraft. So hopefully these two will live up to their name. It is going to be a Terran versus Protoss. Gerper is the Protoss player. Isskincom is the Terran, and without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at it.
Hey guys, so we are back here with Gerper as the red Protoss player spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. And across the map on Blistering Sands is his opponent Isskincom, spawning as the blue Terran up at the top right-hand corner. As I said before, both these players are Korean, so that's a little bit something different than what we're usually used to. I don't think I've ever casted a high-level Korean StarCraft 2 game before. So with these two players controlling the helm of the Protoss and Terran, I think we're probably going to be in store for a pretty good game indeed. And I think, you know, since I haven't really casted any Korean games before, there might be some strategies and tactics that we're just not aware of that perhaps they over there out in Korea have already perfected. So both these players, I know that they're pretty good based on the reputation they have and just on the hype of this replay alone. And I'm expecting to see a pretty good game. If you guys see the APM tab already, both players already kind of spamming their APM up around 100 and 150. And if you guys are wondering why do players kind of click around and spam so much in the beginning, it's not so much to make their APM look cool. I mean, I guess that's a good side effect, but at least I do it as well if you guys watch my tutorial videos. And the reason why I do it is because it helps keep your actions up, it helps keep you focused and aware, and it keeps you multitasking. And so when the game approaches mid to late game, you'll be able to kind of keep up with the action and be able to keep up with the pace. If you start slow and you're just kind of clicking one here, one there in the beginning of the game, and then when you need to be fast, when you need to be multitasking and have a lot of APM towards the mid and late game, it's much more difficult to kind of ramp up than it is just to stay a solid pace the entire game. So that's why I do what I do, and a lot of players, I know a lot of high-level players do the same thing as well, but of course every player is entitled to their own style of play. Looks like we already have both scouting workers already in the opponent's bases, and we do have Isskincom here grabbing a pretty fast gas. So we might possibly see a Reaper push, but maybe not because there's already a probe inside. The probe would be able to see the tech lab, and we actually have two Marines already queuing up. And we would have seen Reapers if this second Marine wasn't queued, but it doesn't look like we're going to see a Reaper rush. So I'm not quite sure why Isskincom is getting the fast gas. Maybe we're going to see a Thor ship build again, but I don't think Thor ships are that effective against Protoss. They're pretty good against Zerg, because you can like almost two-shot a queen. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what Isskincom is going to try to do. The one thing about Blistering Sands that I really do like are these capturable high ground kind of watchtowers, and I like the placement of the watchtowers because towards the late game you actually see a lot of battles happening around these towers, and the key thing is to hold on to the top tower and get on that high ground. So I see a lot of interesting battles. I also like the way the expansions are laid out in this game, with the gold expansion being in the corners, only able to be accessed if you destroy the rocks, and then of course these outside expansions as well. I really do like the layout. The only thing I'm a little bit contested over is perhaps the destructible rocks. So we'll see what Gerper is going to try to do this game. Looks like he's already mining off two gases very quickly. He's also got his cybernetics core researching warp gates. Looks like two more gateways on the way, so we might be seeing some kind of a quick sentry's stalker rush, I would imagine. Since he's got the cyber core out already, it'll probably be a stalker push. But Isskincom's already walled off. He's a Terran player, and stalkers, they do pretty good damage against buildings, but we'll see how are we seeing a Thor ship build? No, this is a second barracks. I would have, if this was a starport, then we might have been seeing Thor ships, but we're actually seeing siege tanks. So Isskincom here gonna be going for mech, and when that fast stalker rush comes, I think he should be well prepared if he's gonna have some siege tanks out. So Isskincom playing very well here and getting siege tech as well. So perhaps we're gonna be seeing some kind of a mech build from the Koreans here, and perhaps they've mastered this out already, whereas in the USA and the North America we don't see mech all that often. Perhaps Isskincom going to teach us a lesson today. I'm not sure if he's going to fully commit to it or if he's just going to go off of a one factory. and he's already got his siege tank out. Meanwhile, we've got some stalkers and sentries and zealots out. This SCV trying to get some scouting information, and Gerper here pulling all of his zealots and his sentries and other stalkers back so that the SCV could not see the impending rush. And so right now, Isskincom only thinks there are 2 stalkers coming. He doesn't know that there's actually a pretty large attacking force, but he's fully walled off, so I think he's prepared. He's got the siege tank as well. I think it's going to be a close fight. And the important thing is Gerper going to be able to shoot uphill and target these siege tanks? I don't think so, unless he can get one of his stalkers to stand right here and scout. And this siege tech is ready, so the siege tank can siege up right now. We are seeing some force fields going down, trying to keep the Marines and Marauders away from the ledge, but it doesn't matter. Siege tech is ready, and that is going to push Gerper back. So Gerper's rush there all but kind of failing, but at the same time he's got full map control with this pretty large Protoss force out in the middle of the map. He's also got this proxy pylon on the high ground, which is going to be able to warp in more reinforcements right here where the pylon power does extend. And he's grabbing his expansion as well. So I like what he's doing, grabbing the Expo when he's got map control. Well played right now. We're also seeing concussive shells being researched for Isskincom. Keep in mind this is a very recent replay. So Marauders did recently have that nerf. And against Protoss, if you're going M&M, as we do see a pretty healthy grouping of Marines and Marauders, it's usually wiser, in my opinion, to get concussive shells before stim packs. And the reason for that is because concussive shells slow zealots, and Marauders are so good against stalkers that I think concussive shells is a wiser choice. Otherwise, if you're going against Zerg and you're going M&M, I would recommend going stim packs. Looks like we're having Isskincom already moving out here. He's got 2 siege tanks as well. This is a pretty evened out army between the 2, but it looks like Gerber is going to fall back and just play defensively. Meanwhile, Isskincom pushing out here. This probe is going to be dead. No way it's going to be able to survive, and Isskincom controls the watchtower for now. 3rd siege tank coming out as well. All this out of 1 factory. So Isskincom playing very heavy on the gas right now. Keep in mind, the Terran player, even though he's going to be down 1 base, his income can still match up with the Protoss thanks to mules, but he is limited by gas. So that's why siege tanks aren't really that effective. Look at this Immortal actually getting a little bit out of position there, getting taken out. Now Gerber's going to be forced to fall back because he doesn't have anything to tank the damage from the tanks. And what I wanted to say was I'm not so sure about Isskincom going for siege tanks because they are so limited by gas if you're a Terran player. And these siege tanks now cost 125 gas. Look at this, another Immortal coming out. Great force field placement there, really making those Marines and Marauders having a hard time retreating. And a lot of them going down as their blood can be shown on the floor right there. And Isskincom is in a position of power right now, and as you guys can see, this blue outline is showing how the siege tanks, how far they can extend. But there is Immortals, there is quite a few Stalkers right now, and Isskincom is going to have to macro up and reinforce. He does have more forces incoming. And he gets a scan off and sees the 2nd Immortal, and now, yes, he backs away. Wow, great scan right there. If he hadn't scanned, and if he had stayed there, he would have probably lost his entire army to these 2 Immortals. So great fallback there, good timing on the scan, and he is going to fully fall back. Meanwhile, Gerber with observers already getting planted all over the map, as well as this proxy pylon still in position. We might see possibly some DTs coming in later. Let's see if, no, it looks like he's going for robotics base, and he's already got a robotics facility, so we're going to be seeing some Colossus coming out. And we have a Warp Prism coming with 2 Immortals as well, so we might see some dropship play here. Meanwhile, a missile turret going up, and just missile turrets everywhere, and we also have sensor towers going down as well. Sensor towers, really good. As you guys can see on the mini-map, that very thin blue outline, this is the range of the sensor tower, and if you're the Terran player, you see like a little red exclamation mark whenever a unit is moving in that sensor tower range. Meanwhile, Warp Prism coming in here with 2 Immortals. They're going to actually go right for the supply depot. Not quite sure I agree with this. I think he would have been better off going for the mineral line here. And he's actually going to walk right into the production facility. We'll see what kind of damage he can do. Looking at the income tab, both players pretty even though the Protoss player is 1 base up in terms of minerals. But in terms of gas, Protoss player about 100 more gas per minute than the Terran player. And of course right now Isskincom just starting to get his 2nd natural up and running as well. Meanwhile, upgrades. Looks like Gerber, our Korean Protoss player, at 0-0 upgrades. He